Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to replace a battery, or assuming the battery is the issue, on this 13-inch MacBook Air. This is a model, let's see, A2179 2020. Alright, so we're going to first use a Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver to remove all the screws from the bottom. Alright, let's go ahead and remove them all. You want to keep them in order because they can be different size, shape, and length. The way you do that, put the screws flat side down like this on your desk in the pattern you remove them. Alright, so you got this rectangular pattern. You're just going to remove all the screws and put them in that pattern. Alright, so just like that. Okay. If this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, so if you did somehow mix up your screws, the back screws appear to be the longest, and all the rest seem to be about the same size, but it's always best to kind of keep all the screws in order, so that way you put the exact screw where you got it. Alright, so there we go. Now that we've got all those screws out, we're going to pop the bottom cover off. So I just go in this little gap here with my fingers or fingernails. Right, I grab that and then I kind of just wiggle and pull like this. Okay, just like that, and there you go. Okay, so it's a little bit dusty. We'll clean this out. The customer said it was like randomly restarting or shutting off or something, and the fan would randomly run loud. Right, so we're going to clean this up. I'm basically just using a toothbrush and brushing that dust off into the side, so basically just like this. Alright, depending on the dust, usually I'll also take it outside and then use an electric air blower to blow all the dust out. Alright, so basically let's just brush this stuff out. Okay, and then I'm going to use my little air blowing thing since it doesn't look too dusty. Okay, so we're going to use this. I'm going to get any loose dust out and blow this out. Alright. The fan here kind of gets stuck a bit. I don't know if that's normal or not. Okay, anyways, we're going to go ahead and disconnect the battery. Hopefully it's not, because this fan isn't spinning properly and the thing might be overheating. I don't know. Clean out the little heat sink. Alright, so to disconnect the battery, we're just going to disconnect the battery first because we're going to test it. So we're going to test the computer before we actually replace it. Alright, we're going to press and hold this little yellow button here. Okay, just use my fingernail. You can use a little plastic tool. You can use something like this. Alright, and you just press and hold this for about 15 seconds. Alright, and this will drain any residual power. This thing makes it safer to pull the thing apart. Alright, okay, so we're going to give it a few more seconds. Okay, and make sure when you push this that you can physically feel, you can actually feel it click. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're going to carefully peel this piece up a little bit, peel it back, so that way you have access to the connector here, and you're going to pull this raised bit back. Alright, just like this. I like to go side to side, and there you go, it pops out a little bit. You can see you can kind of pull this, alright, and then you can kind of lift that out. Alright, I think I have a customer here, so might have to stop for a bit. But anyways, let's get the replacement battery, and we're basically just gonna have it sitting outside here and plug it in there. Alright, so let's get the replacement battery out real quick, and then we're gonna do that. That way we can test and make sure it's a battery issue and not something else. Okay, battery just comes in a little thing like this. Okay, and there's this metal plate. We're gonna lift that out. Okay, people are running around outside. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so the battery's like that. We're gonna grab this and we're just gonna put it in like this. You want to be careful not to touch the metal thing to all these little pieces, of course. Okay, we're gonna get this battery connector out of the way, and what we're gonna do, we're just gonna line this new one into place here. Okay, again, hold this stuff back. Okay, just like this. We'll get this connector, line it up. So this connector, you actually line it up and it goes down on top. Actually, oops, the mic getting in the way. Okay, so it looks like this. Sorry for the shakiness. All right, and then while you have that in that slot, you can actually slide it into place and then push that in. And normally once after you disconnect the battery, you would press and hold this button again for 15 seconds. But yeah, since we're not taking out the battery yet, we're gonna do it that way. All right, so let's zoom back out. Okay, so now that we have this connected, what we're gonna do, you wanna be careful with this. We're gonna actually get the metal plate, and we can't really put this in yet because the battery's there, but we're just gonna put it there temporarily, and I'm gonna use a little bit of tape just to hold it in place, so that way temporarily we can be using the computer. Okay, so I'm just gonna get some tape. Let me see here. Okay, so I have some old tape that I have here. You don't need new tape. All right, so I'm gonna get the tape, and we're just gonna fold a little tab over here. Okay, just like that. And do the same thing with the other side. Okay, there we go. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have it folded in half backwards so that way I can cut it. All right, we're just gonna cut this. Now we have two pieces of tape. Okay, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna just wrap part of it here like this. Okay, again, this is just for temporary. We're not leaving this stuff here. Okay, we're gonna wrap it over this side. Okay, what we're gonna do now, keep everything flat, flip it over. Okay, just like that. Then we'll open up the MacBook. All right, keep holding it into place. And then we're just gonna wrap the tape over like this, okay? And like this. You can see the MacBook did turn itself on, or at least you heard. You can't see, but here you go, you can see. Turned itself on. Okay, usually I like to do a PRAM and SMC reset first. Let's see if it'll respond to that. Control Option Shift on the left side, power button. No, it didn't. Let's try a PRAM reset. Restart the computer. Command Option P and R. You can hear the chime. All right, the screen went off. I'm gonna let go, and it should chime a second time if the PRAM reset worked properly. Okay, I'm actually gonna get more tape so I can wrap it around the palm rest area. All right, and do the same thing here. Stick the tape on underneath here. Is it still resetting? Okay, it finally turned itself back on. That took a while. All right, and we're just gonna wrap this here temporarily. And do the same thing on this side. Oops, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. Put tape there. And the weird thing is I'm seeing the screen like slowly turn on. That usually means there's a hardware issue. But anyways, I'm gonna let the customer try this and see what's going on, see if it does the same issue, and I'll be back. All right, see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I'm back. I'm not 100% convinced that it's a battery issue that's going on with this. Let me show you what is happening. So when you turn this on, let me actually cover here. If you look at it, the way the screen starts up, it's gonna like swipe the loading screen from the top down, as you can see. I don't know if you saw that, but the image goes like it swipes from the top down, which is really weird. Usually the time I've seen that is when the trackpad or something is going bad. Maybe it's a thermal sensor. I don't know where else they have thermal sensors on here, but that's usually what I see. The customer told me it started happening when they started using iMovie. Anyways, let's go ahead and peel this tape off. Oop, I didn't want to turn it back on. Okay. So I'm going to peel the tape back off. Just going to get all this tape off. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to plug the old hard drive back, or not the old hard drive, the old battery back in, and see if it looks exactly the same or if there's any change. All right. Sometimes replacing the trackpad or moving the trackpad cable might help. So I'm gonna try and test that real quick. All right, so let's peel this back off. All right, I'm gonna shut it down. Make sure nobody's calling or messaging me. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip this over. Sorry, I had a customer message me. I'm gonna hold both layers, flip it back over. Okay, take this plate back off. Again, we are gonna hold the little yellow button for about 15 seconds. All right, I'll use this so you guys can see a little bit better. Let me actually zoom in here. All right, so we'll hold that about 15 seconds. Okay, I know you can't see, there you go. All right, a few more seconds. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead now and disconnect the battery here. So same thing, flip this little tab up out of the way again. Okay, and then we're just gonna pull this back. It's kind of interesting because usually the MacBooks, when I disconnect the battery, I have to actually reconnect the charger. Let me actually see, maybe if I hold this to drain it after disconnecting the battery, it will cause that to happen. So let's hold this button 15 seconds. All right, a few more seconds. All right, that way we do like a complete battery drain from the board. Okay, it's about 15 seconds. We'll get this cable in, line it back up. All right, come on, get that in. Here we go. Line it up, line up the sides, get that into place, and then push that in. There we go. Flip that back over. Put this cover back on top. Let's see if it's actually booting the exact same way. Flip this over. Okay, open this up. All right, right now I'm probably gonna have to now plug the charger back in. Okay, so as you can see, it's not turning on. Okay, so let me get the charger and I'll plug that in. All right, did I leave a charger here? Okay. Let's plug the MacBook charger in. USB-C charger. All right, let's plug this in and see what happens. Power it up. Okay, trackpad's clicking again, so we should be getting power. Give it a few seconds. Now we actually did a power drain. Let's see if the screen starts up the same way. I'm going to cover the username again, just in case some people don't like letting that be seen. Okay. Let's see if the screen starts up the same with the thing going from the top down. It's actually taking a lot longer to start up right now. Okay. Come on. Boot up. Boot up. It's taking a long time. There's actually the Apple logo's on. Okay, but it's taking a while. Now I hear the fan issue the customer was talking about. So I think it really is the battery that's causing the problem, because it's doing the thing that they were talking about. Alright, with the old battery, the only weird thing was the screen took, like, the way it came down. But yeah, with this, you can see it's taking forever. Alright, anyways, and now the fan's actually going crazy, as you can hear. Okay, I'm gonna do one more test. Yeah, it's like taking forever to start up. So I'm gonna shut this off again. I'm holding the power button. All right, turn that off. I'm gonna flip this over again. I'm gonna swap the battery back out. Okay, I'm not gonna do a close up this time. I'm just gonna hold it, and I mean, you know what I did last time. Let me actually at least get it a little closer. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna hold this 15 seconds again. Okay. Okay, hold it a few more seconds. All right, let's go ahead and disconnect the battery again. Okay, there we go. Then we'll get the replacement battery again, and we'll do the same thing. Let's go ahead and reconnect it and see if it's doing the regular startup. Okay, oh, one other thing. Again, I'm gonna hold the power or this button for 15 seconds. All right, just so it's an equal from last time. Okay, so it shouldn't turn itself back on until we plug it in. So let's go ahead and see. All right, give it another 5 seconds. All right, good. Let's plug the battery in. There we go. Push that tape down. All right, we got this. We don't need to put the metal cover. I'm just gonna hold the battery in place, flip it upside down. Okay. Let's go ahead and carefully open this up. It shouldn't turn itself on. Actually, why is it clicking already? So that's interesting. With this battery, it works perfectly fine without the charger. So the Apple logo's there. Okay, that might already mean something different. And now it loaded that already. So huge difference. Let's go ahead and shut this down. I'm gonna plug it in now. Interesting. It doesn't make the charging sound, it just booted itself. Alright, so while it's plugged in, is it gonna boot up just as fast, or is it gonna take forever like before? Okay, it boots up just as fast. So let me tell the customer, because it does seem like it's a weird battery issue, but I don't understand why it's doing that weird graphical thing. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and swap the battery out. So I'm gonna shut it down and I'll let the customer know. Probably take me about another half an hour or so and see what they want to do. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, so we're gonna try swapping the battery. Okay, we're gonna disconnect the charger, of course. Close this up. Make sure to grab the battery from underneath. Okay, flip this back over. All right, we're gonna hold this button again for 15 seconds. Okay. All right, and then we're gonna just swap the battery out and see how it goes. This battery is somewhat difficult to replace because there's all these adhesives underneath. And if any of the adhesives break, then it's gonna be a pain. So keep that in mind, all right? All right, let's get this plastic thing back up. Okay, just like that. I'm gonna grab that and pull the battery back out. We'll set the battery aside for now. All right, so, oh wait, is this model? This model is actually a bit nicer to replace. It's very similar to one of the other MacBook Airs I've worked on, but this one, you can actually remove the trackpad cable because it's on top. So we're gonna actually remove the trackpad cable again, or as well, because we can. All right, let me actually zoom in here. Okay, I believe it's a T3, Torx 3. All right, let me double check with a Torx 4 and see if that even works. Oh, actually, this might actually be a Torx 4 screwdriver screw. All right, so I'm gonna use a T4 or Torx 4. All right, you wanna check with your screwdriver bits because depending on your set, if it doesn't fit right, you wanna make sure you get as snug of a fit as possible. All right, we're gonna remove both these screws. Again, keep them all in order. All right, there we go. All right, now that we got those two screws out, we're gonna lift this metal plate off. Okay, and disconnect this cable here, just get underneath and pop this up. I like to go on the opposite corners, all right, and there we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean underneath this connector just to be safe. Sometimes it can be causing some problems, so we're gonna just brush this off a little bit and brush this off a little bit. I'll use my air blower to kind of clean it up. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, because this one allows us to. We're going to slowly, carefully peel this away. There's some adhesive here. You want to be careful not to peel in a way that will tear this here. So I'm going to grab both at the same time and slowly peel it up. Okay, wow, this thing is holding really strong, so you want to be very careful. There we go. All right, next thing we're going to do, we can also go ahead and disconnect this cable down here. So we're going to flip this little plastic tab out of the way so we can see. All right, and under here, there's this latch. We're going to flip that latch up just like that. You can see I used my thumb. Right, once you flip that latch, you can actually pull this back. Okay, just like that. And here you go. We have this cable that's kind of swinging out of the way. All right, in this case, we don't actually need to remove the trackpad, but I'm going to do it just in case the cable is loose on the other side. Okay, this most likely we're going to use a T5, but let's see. Yeah, okay, we're going to use a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver for this part. Okay, and we're going to remove the what's that, 9 screws. All right, so let's go ahead and remove that. Again, keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. And when we go to remove this trackpad, you want to be very careful because there's usually washers holding underneath. Okay, and if you're not careful, those washers can fall off pretty easily and you can lose them. All right, so let's go ahead and continue removing all these screws. Uh-oh, sounds like I have another customer over here. I dropped my screwdriver bit. All right. All right, get these screws out. I'll pause once I get the trackpad out. Okay, just like this. All right, last 2 screws. Okay, there we go. Uh-oh, give me a second. My other customer's calling, but we're going to slowly, carefully open this. Again, be careful not to get this cable caught in anything. So what I'm doing is I'm opening up the laptop. Again, you want to be very careful with this because there are the metal washers underneath. Okay, so while you're carefully lifting it, we're also getting this out and we're guiding the cable through. Okay, just like that. And there we go. We have the trackpad outside. All right, give me a second. I have my other customer here and I'll be back. All right. All right, I'm back. So first thing we're going to do, we want to check the trackpad cable here a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually lift this latch here. Okay, just like that. Flip that up and we're going to pull this cable out. Again, you want to be careful because there are these little washers here, right? This one has a little circle on it. All right. And then the other 2. But anyways, let's go ahead and pull this back. Most likely there's some adhesive holding it, so you want to be very careful. Hold this tight, firmly. And I'm going to pinch like this and slowly keep pulling it back while the adhesive kind of will peel up, okay? All right, so likely that cable shouldn't be loose because of the adhesive. But anyways, we're going to kind of just brush the board a tiny bit. And you want to be careful because those washers can fall off easily. So I'm just kind of lightly blowing on it. Okay, next we're going to put this cable back in. Okay, so make sure this latch is up. And you don't want to let the cable touch down because the adhesive will stick itself back in place and will make it so you can't pull it in properly. So we're going to hold it like that. All right, get the cable, push that back into place. Okay, make sure it goes in all the way. Looks good. Once you make sure everything is into place, you can go ahead and stick that down and then slide your finger over to latch that into place. All right, good. There we go. Okay, so we're going to set this aside now. All right, let's go ahead and open up the laptop and see if it's dirty under the trackpad area or not, if we need to clean it. All right, so we'll open this up. It's a little bit dusty, but not too bad. So let's go ahead and clean it up. Okay. Nothing too crazy in here. All right. Okay, much cleaner. There's still something stuck there, but it doesn't want to come out. There we go. Better. Okay, so we got that. Let's go ahead and close this down. Okay, next thing we gotta do is get the speakers out. Okay, this can be somewhat of a pain, but let's see. Hopefully these aren't gonna snap like the other model I worked on. So there's this little pull, stretch, release adhesive tabs here. Okay, so I'm gonna move the laptop here so you can kind of see it a little bit better. Basically, we're gonna peel this up. Okay, carefully, slowly peel that up. And then once you've got that, we're gonna pull it straight back. You wanna be very careful when pulling this. You wanna go slowly, okay? And carefully, just very slowly, carefully peel this back, okay? Hopefully it's gonna come out. And we're just gonna keep slowly pulling on it. Okay, you wanna go slow. If you yank this real fast, you're gonna end up just snapping it. It's going to just break off. It's going to be stuck underneath the speaker and you're going to be screwed pretty much. You're going to have to pry out the speaker and most likely the speaker is going to end up broken. So yeah, it helps to kind of push it down slightly as you're pulling on it. So I'm using my finger to help guide it and pull it. Okay, and you can actually see how far it's stretching as I keep pulling. Alright, this is a very long, slow process. You don't want to rush it. Okay, very important. Alright, if you rush this and this snaps, you're going to be in trouble. Even sometimes going slow, it might snap, so you want to be very careful. Just go as slow as you can. As long as you feel it keep moving, you should be okay, but don't try and force it out. Alright, once I've kind of pulled it somewhat far, I'll kind of grab, let the other thing stretch back forward, try to kind of work my way back closer to it, and then we'll continue grabbing from here, and same thing, pulling, again, slowly, keeping it flat down as I can, and just keep going and going. Alright, so we're just going to keep going like this. Alright, and we're just going to keep on going, keep on going. I know there's a long, arduous process and takes a lot of patience, but it is what it is. This is what you got to do. Alright, you can't really speed this process up. You have to be patient. You have to go slow. Okay, just keep going and going. Okay, we're going to grab this now. Let it stretch back. And you want to be careful not to let it wrap on itself, because if it does, it's almost impossible to kind of separate the layer. Okay, so we're going to keep going. Alright, and we're just going to keep on going until all this adhesive is peeled out. Okay. Alright, again, this is a very long, slow process. As you get towards the end, as you can see, it's kind of stretching a bit faster. And that's because the front part is lifting off and it's getting towards the back. And there we go. Alright, it kind of stuck together on itself a bit. So we might not be able to use this adhesive again, but right, we got most of it out. Let me see if I can separate all of this, but usually once it sticks together, it's not going to separate. Let's see, can we get this apart? No, I don't think it's going to come apart. Yeah, it kind of came apart. Okay, so try and get this as flat as possible. Okay, stretch it out, make sure. Okay, trying to get it to unstick from itself, but yeah. Alright, so there we go. We got most of it unstuck from itself, and then we're just gonna leave it hanging somewhere so that we can put it back when we're ready. Okay. Okay, since the speakers aren't as sensitive, it's somewhat okay to use it even though it's been stuck back together on itself like that. But yeah, we'll set this aside for now, okay? And then we'll put it back when we're ready. Okay, so we'll stick it over here. Okay, next, as you can see, we can somewhat lift the speaker. I don't know if there's another sticker tab here somewhere. There might be one. We're gonna have to lift this connector out. Okay, so we're gonna get under here. I'm gonna try and use this plastic tool to get underneath and pop the connector out, because as you can see, we can't really lift this. We can kind of lift part of the speaker. Oops, I should probably, let me get this disconnected first. Okay, so we're gonna get this under here and try with the flat side. Get a corner edge under there and kind of work our way and twist this. There you can see, we got that out. The speaker is kind of moving, so I don't know if, is there an adhesive under there? Let me see here. I don't see a stretch release tab to remove, so let me zoom out here. Oh, the screws disappeared. Oh, it's going on the magnet. Give me a second. I need to, let's clean up my desk a little to get stuff off. I need to move the screws out of the way. They're a little bit in my way to work on this, so. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's see if we can actually get the speaker out, or if it's still held with something. It feels like back here it's still stuck, but I don't see an adhesive that I can remove here. You can see we can kind of, oh, there's one screw there. Okay, I'm blind. I thought that was for the battery. Okay, T5 doesn't work, so let's see if the T4, Torx 4 will work. Nope, so we're gonna have to use the T3. Okay. So let's switch on over to the T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver and remove that screw. Interesting. So on this model, they use screws and adhesive. Okay. Once you remove that screw, you can see we can lift this up and set it aside. All right. So we're going to set that aside now. Okay. We're going to have to do the same with the other speaker on this side. If you want, again, you can just fast forward because it's basically the same thing. I'm going to move this out of the way. We're going to peel this up. Okay, and then we're just going to continue peeling this back very slowly and gently, okay? So let's go ahead and continue peeling this. Very, oh no, you see what I mean? I was even going very slow and it snapped. That's gonna be a nightmare. There's a little bit of it there that we can see. I'm going to try removing this screw first and see if I can somehow get a hold of that. So we're going to remove this screw. Okay. And see if I can use that to kind of move it a tiny bit out of the way. Not really. All right, let me flip this little connector out. We're going to use the same tool as before. Man, I was going super slow and it just snapped. All right, I'm going to get underneath with this flat edge and kind of like twist it up to pop that out. You can see it's popping out now. Okay, there we go. So now we got the other speaker end out. Let's zoom out. Okay, so this is going to be a pain now because of that dumb adhesive strip snapping itself. All right, let's see. Can I grab that? I'm going to try using tweezers and some needle nose pliers to do this. Basically, we're going to have to try and get into this gap. Let's see if I can use a little piece of a popsicle stick. Nope, that's too big. Can I push this back a little? Not really. Wow, I don't think I can even get the tool in there. The gap is so thin. Okay, let's try it with a super thin flathead screwdriver. Can barely get it in there. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do this if I can't get that out. With the flathead screwdriver, I can somewhat move it forward. So I'm going to use the flathead screwdriver to kind of just wedge it in there and see if I can use that to pull this back a little. So that way I can increase the gap, the size of the gap, and hopefully I can grab this out. Because if that doesn't work, then we're going to have to just very slowly somehow pry this thing up. And I don't know. Okay, let's try with this. I'm going to try and carefully pry this speaker up. I'm probably gonna have to let the customer know it's gonna take a while because this thing snapped off. All right, I'm slowly, carefully underneath pulling this up, and the adhesive is actually getting pulled into there. Okay, so I'm using this to twist very lightly and lift this part up. I don't know if you can even tell. And if we're like very slow, then it might work okay. So I'm gonna slowly lift this. And it would help if I can lift from the other side, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Let's try. Okay, you can see we can kind of like pull it outward this way. But I can't get underneath it. I want to get underneath it to lift it up. Okay, there we go. It's kind of going. And we're gonna have to, again, go very slow. Okay, now that we're slowly kind of lifting it up, hopefully we can get a hold of the adhesive in there. This is what happens when things go wrong. Okay, so we got the adhesive strip part of it. Oh, shoot. Come on. Wow, this is so tough to get under here. Okay. All right. There you go. We got part of it. And let's see if now we can continue pulling this back. All right, that's working. So now we're just going to keep pulling this adhesive back. Now with the pressure of the thing lifting it up, it's actually a lot easier to pull this. Maybe I should do that in the future if I can. I don't know. It feels a little bit more scary because it can possibly damage the speaker, but it does seem to help a lot. So it looks like in the future I'll lift up from that side, just like that. And here you go, we got the adhesive strip. Okay. So I don't know how I'll do this for the future. Okay, I think this one, I'm just gonna stick them both together. Okay, so we got the adhesive strip here. I'm gonna stick the other end of the adhesive strip that broke off onto it. So we're just gonna stick it on like this. And that should hopefully be strong enough because as you can see, this kind of adhesive doesn't let go. All right, so there we go. We actually were able to get that out. That was kind of annoying, but let's go ahead and remove the second speaker. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna put the speaker or the screw with the speaker so I don't mix it up. Okay, then each battery has 3 of these adhesive strips, same thing. Okay, so we're gonna have to peel up the 3 adhesive strips on each of these sides. Let me make sure I don't have any customers messaging me right now. Okay. All right, so what we're gonna do, we have 2 more screws, 1 on each side. So let's go ahead and remove that screw as well. All right, we're gonna do that on both sides. Let me put away this stuff here that I'm not using. Okay, then we're gonna go on this side and we're gonna remove this screw. Okay, now we got screws out from both sides. Next thing we're gonna do, we need to lift these stretch adhesive tabs out and peel them up just like the others. Okay, so we're gonna peel it up like this. Okay. Kind of scrape it up so that you can grab it. All right. Once you get enough of it up, it might help to actually use the needle nose pliers, but let's go ahead and see if we can grab this and pull it. Okay, here you can see, now it's stretching, and these are thin, clear pieces, okay? So it's different from the other one, so we're just gonna pull it up like this, okay? And it's all wrapping on itself, okay? That's annoying. So I don't know if we'll be able to reuse it. I'll try and reuse it, but it's kind of, this one really easily sticks to itself, so. All right, there we go. We got that out, and we'll set this aside. I don't know if there's a way to get replacements of these. I mean, there's all the screws that kind of will hold the battery in place, so technically it's not really needed, but yeah. All right, let's scrape this one up and try and grab hold of it. All right, same thing, we'll just continue pulling it like this. kind of let it wrap back on itself, so, or stretch back so it's less likely to stick to itself, but it still does. Okay, go. Yeah, it's sticking all to itself. I don't think we can reuse that. Anyways, let's scrape this all up and peel this one. This one is really far in there, so I'm gonna have to definitely have to use the needle nose pliers to grab it. Okay. Wow, that one's really stuck. Come on. There we go. Okay. Like that, and go ahead and stretch it just like the rest of them. Okay. There we go. Alright, so we got those. We'll try and reuse what we can with the adhesive. It's going to be all like stuck to itself, but it should still work. Alright, now we got to get the 3 out on this side and do the same thing. Okay. Scrape this stuff up. Alright, and then we'll grab that and peel that. Again, you want to do this slowly and carefully, because if it rips, then you're going to have a real big problem. Okay. Oh man, this one likes to all stick to itself too easily. Okay. There we go. All right, and we're going to just continue. Okay. Almost done. We got one more to go. Okay. And then we'll stretch that and peel that back. Again, you want to try and keep the adhesive flat when you're pulling it out. That's why I switch and I use my thumb to help guide it down. Because if you pull it upwards, then it's definitely going to tear. Okay. Alright. Here we go. We'll set this aside. Okay. Alright, there we go. Did I stick it to another one? Oops. Okay. There we go. Let's see. Now we should be able to lift the battery out. Yep. Okay. Comes out nicely. Set that aside. Let's get the replacement battery here. Okay. I don't know why they put this plastic film on top. Maybe just so you know it's new. Okay. We're going to drop this battery into place. Okay. So next thing we're going to do... Oh, actually... what we should do is put the adhesive strips back here. You can see where they have these raised pieces for the adhesive strips. And of course, because they all stuck to themselves, it's going to be not stick properly, but let's go ahead and see. All right, so stuck to itself wrong way. Okay, so I got this adhesive strip. You can see it's all stuck to itself, but we're going to just stick it out like this and stick that back in. Not really a problem. That should still work okay. Okay, get a second one, same thing. Make sure that this part sticks out here. Okay, and we're just gonna stick that back on there. Okay. We're just gonna put all of them back in there. This one, same thing. Line it up. Oops. Okay, stick that on. Okay, I'm getting a phone call. Give me a second. Oh, actually, never mind. All right. This one's very wrinkled up on itself. All right, let's see. I'll stick this here and just get that all over like that. All right, should be okay. As it stretches out, it just releases, so it should be fine. Okay. This one here. All right, I'll stick this down. All right, and the last one, did I mix something? Oh, here we go. Okay. All right, the last one here. Stick that on and stick this on. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead now and get the battery in. Let's zoom out. You want to make sure to get the screw mounts lined up before dropping it down, because once you drop it down, it's going to be stuck. So very important. Make sure it's all lined up. Sorry if my head gets in the way. I'm trying to see. Okay. Looks good there. So we'll just let it drop. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to get the screws. And we'll put those back in here. Okay. And loosely fit it first just to make sure everything lines up. Good. All right, then we can go ahead and tighten it down. Tighten that down. If you notice, I left more of it sticking out so it's easier to get to. Okay. Now we're going to do the speaker ones as well. Okay. So the speaker ones, you want it to actually wrap over the speaker. If you want, you can actually take the speaker and just get the adhesive here. Okay. And you can like stick it on top and use that as a way to kind of guide it, and then you can wrap this over. Okay. Just like this. Oops. Okay. And then you can kind of just stick that down. Okay. So that's a easier way for this one. Okay. Just like that, and stick that into place. There you go. Once you've done that, you can actually just line up the speaker, get that into place. Make sure this groove lines up properly, and then just drop it down. All right. Make sure that lines up. We'll get this screw into place. Okay, and we're good to go. All right, make sure it's right. You can go ahead and just press it down, line this connector up, and just click it into place. All right. I know I'm not zooming in, but it should hopefully be very straightforward. Okay, we're gonna get the other one and do the same thing. Let's peel that off. Okay. All right, so just get this lined up. Come on, line up. There we go. Line that up. Hold on to that, and then we'll just wrap this over just like the other one. Okay. There we go. Stick that on. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and get this lined up into place. Okay. Just get that in. All right. Get this screw in. All right. Make sure the speaker is lined up with the wall here. Okay. So I'm going to push it over there. This. Okay. Tighten that down, and then you can go ahead and push this down so it doesn't move. All right. Line this connector up. All right. Just line it up, and then just push it back down. It just clicks into place easily. Okay. So we got all of that. Next thing we got to do is the trackpad. So let's peel off this clear layer here. They actually tell you do not tear off protective film in advance. Tear it off after the battery's installed. Battery's installed now, so let's go ahead and peel this off. All right, and the way you peel it off, you want to roll it off like this. You don't want to pull it straight up, because then it can separate layers on the battery and you don't want to do that. Okay, so hold the battery down and continue just peeling this up. Okay, there we go. Set that plastic film aside. Okay, so we got all of that in. Let's go ahead and now get the trackpad. So we got to lift the screen up. All right, tuck the trackpad back through here. Oops, I put it upside down. Make sure you put it the right way. Okay, so tuck it in through here. Just like that. And up like this. Carefully get it all lined up. All right. I forget which screw size it was. Was it the T5s? Let's try with the middle screw first. Yeah, T5. Okay, so we'll get the first screw in. We're going to loosely fit it first. You don't want to tighten it all the way because, as you can see, it can move around. And we need to make sure that the entire thing is lined up before we tighten it down. All right, so we're just loosely fitting all these screws to make sure everything is lined up first, or so that all the screws are in. All right, and let the MacBook close, and we're just going to get all these other screws. Again, we're just loosely fitting it first because it can move around. Okay. Man, I wasn't expecting this repair to take so much time. Jeez. All right. You can see it's all wiggling. Okay. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to reattach this cable here. Let me actually zoom in here for you guys. Okay, so to reattach this, make sure that latch is flipped up there. Okay, that this latch is flipped up. We're going to, oh, there's getting dust on here. Put that out. Okay, so we're going to use this this little plastic tab to help guide it. And then pull that into place. All right, make sure it's pulled in all the way as far as it'll go. Then you can use your finger, slide it over to latch that back down. As you can see, some of the gold is still exposed. That's normal. Okay, stick that back down. Then we're going to go ahead and plug this back in up here. Okay, just get it lined up and push that in. You hear it click. All right, we're going to switch over to the T4 or Torx 4 again. All right, I think we're done with the T3 or Torx 3 for now. Okay, so we're going to get this little metal cover and put it back. Actually, to make it easier, what I like to do is I take the screw. Okay, I'll put it on my screwdriver bit here. Then I'll use this to help guide it. I'll put it through there, line it up, and then we'll loosely fit it. Get the second one. All right, there we go. Okay, oops. Okay, make sure everything's lined up, and then we'll tighten that down. Okay, make sure this is lined up, and then we'll tighten that down. Good to go. All right, so now we got the trackpad back in. Now what we're going to have to do is line up the trackpad itself. All right, so we're going to flip the MacBook over, open it up. Okay, and those tapes we used last time to help hold the battery in place, we're going to now use it to help hold the trackpad in place. As you can see, the gap around it is very uneven. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the tape to help guide this. Okay, so you can see you can kind of move it left, right. Okay, and I like to kind of start with it all the way up or something, and then try and find how much room it moves, then try and get it in the middle, and then we'll just pull it down a tiny bit. Okay, and I think that's pretty well centered. Let's get the other piece of tape here and use that to help hold it down. And then I kind of like to inspect it, so you can see it goes there and there, so we'll go halfway in between. Okay, and then I like to kind of take a look and see if it looks centered. It's pretty well centered. It's a little bit difficult to tell because of the shadows from the lighting, so keep that in mind. If you rotate it, it will look like the gap moves around a little bit. And that's normal. Okay, so that looks pretty well centered. Now that we got that holding in place, we're going to close that, flip it over, and then we're going to go ahead and tighten all these screws into place. All right. Again, using the T5. So I'm going to tighten the middle one first. Right, then I'm going to go with the corners. Whatever works for you. I'm going to do these two corners first, and then we're going to actually flip it over and take a look. Okay. All right, and it looks like it's centered well, so we're going to get all the screws back in, and we should be good to go. Okay. At this point, once you got those two corners, it doesn't really matter the order you go, but if you want, you can continue going crisscross so it evenly gets the screws into place. Okay. Okay, all the screws are nice and tight now. All right, so let's go ahead and plug the battery back in. All right, same as before, we already did this a billion times. Get this lined up. Okay, get both lined up. Get that into place and push that in. Okay, good. Push that adhesive back down. Zoom back out. Okay, and let's go ahead now and get the cover back on. Just line it up. Click it into place. Good. We'll flip it back over, make sure everything works, and then once everything is confirmed working, we will put back the base screws. We can peel this stuff up. Okay, I feel the trackpad clicking already, so we're good. I always like to do a PRAM or SMC and PRAM reset, but the SMC reset didn't work on this model, so we will do the PRAM reset at least. Okay, let me actually cover this again. Okay, it's still doing the graphical thing where it swipes down, so that's weird. Anyways, we're going to do a PRAM reset, so I'm going to do a restart and hold Command Option P and R. The screen came on with Apple, then it shut off. Now I'm going to let go, and it should boot itself back up. All right, I shouldn't have to push the power button or anything. Okay, so we'll just let it keep going, and then we're going to put back all the pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screws. All right, we'll give it a bit, make sure it boots up itself, and then we can go ahead and do that. All right. There you go, it started itself up, and we should be good to go. All right, so let's go ahead now and put back all the screws on the bottom. Okay, again, these are pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screws. All right, if this video helped you out, again, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Again, you're welcome to stay as I get all these screws back in. But yeah, there's not much else to it. All right, let's get all these screws back in. All right, and then the last 4 on the bottom. Okay. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye.